In the quiet, early hours of October 30th, 2025, a brutal act of violence tore through the peaceful suburb of Newton Park in Gqeberha, South Africa. Also known as Port Elizabeth and colloquially referred to as PE, is a major seaport and the most populous city in the Eastern Cape province of South Africa. It is the seat of the Nelson Mandela Bay Metropolitan Municipality, South Africa's second smallest metropolitan municipality by area. It is the sixth most populous city in South Africa and is the cultural, economic, and financial hub of the Eastern Cape. 65-year-old Danie de Jager, a beloved grandfather and respected businessman, was found murdered in his own home on Mangold Street, a place that was supposed to be his sanctuary. This is the story of a crime that began as a home invasion, but unraveled into a shocking tale of betrayal. The initial report painted a terrifying picture. At around 2:20 a.m., Danie's partner was jolted awake by a loud noise. According to her statement to the police, she came face to face with 4 unknown intruders. She claimed they bound her hands with cable ties, gagged her, and pulled a pillowcase over her head. As she lay helpless, the intruders allegedly ransacked the house, stealing valuables and making off with Danie's Nissan Juke. After a struggle, she said she managed to free herself, only to make a horrifying discovery. Danie's lifeless body. He had been stabbed multiple times and was declared dead at the scene. For a few hours, the community lived in fear, believing a violent gang was preying on residents. The story seemed to fit a disturbing pattern of recent home invasions in the Nelson Mandela Bay area. An open garage door and shattered window were the first chilling signs that something had gone terribly wrong at a quiet Newton Park residence. The site of a horrifying murder that has left a community in disbelief. In the yard, a white Mercedes in the driveway and another in the garage. Atlas Security, the first responders, described the incident as deeply tragic and warned residents to be on high alert. This devastating event has left the Newton Park community in shock, said a spokesperson from the security firm. Our officers arrived within minutes and worked closely with SAPs to secure the scene. We encourage all residents to stay alert, activate their alarm systems at night, and report anything unusual without delay. Our hearts go out to the victims' loved ones during this incredibly painful time. Atlas Security Marketing Manager Wayne Hart said that Summer Strand and Newton Park had been among the quieter suburbs in Nelson Mandela Bay, with minimal incidents reported in recent weeks, and no significant violence before the latest incidents. But just as the city braced for another faceless threat, the investigation took a turn no one saw coming. Within hours, the police narrative shifted dramatically. Police spokesperson Captain Sandra Janse van Rensburg confirmed that 3 suspects were taken into custody. Mount Road police are investigating a case of murder and house robbery after an incident in the early hours of Thursday in Newton Park, Janse van Rensburg said. The ages were given as 36 and 57 for 2 women and 36 for a man. The charges weren't for robbery, but for murder. They will appear in Gqeberha Magistrates Court on Monday, 3rd of November. The arrests were made within hours of the brutal attack, prompting praise from Nelson Mandela Bay District Commissioner Major General Vuyisile Nkata. Nkata commended detectives from Mount Road SAPs for their swift response and tireless efforts to track down those responsible. The community was stunned when the identities of the suspects were revealed. The 57-year-old woman arrested was Danie's own partner, the very same woman who had given the harrowing account of a home invasion. The other 2 suspects were her 36-year-old daughter and the daughter's 36-year-old boyfriend, who were tenants living in a flatlet on Danie's property. The story of a random, violent break-in collapsed, replaced by the chilling possibility of a meticulously planned murder from within. The news sent shockwaves through Danie's family and friends, who were already grappling with the sudden loss. His brother, Danie de Jager, was faced with the unbearable task of identifying Danie's body. I only saw his face. There were no clear stab wounds, but it looked like he'd been beaten, Fanny said. His face was swollen, his jaw appeared broken, and his body was covered in blood. He believes his brother may have been struck with an iron or a pipe. It was brutal. No one should ever have to go through something like that. The physical evidence hinted at a level of brutality that went far beyond a simple robbery gone wrong. It spoke of personal rage and a violent struggle. He was always polite, always gentle. Fanny said, struggling to reconcile the kind man he knew with the violent end he met. He was a man who loved the roar of motorbikes and the sleek lines of classic cars, but his greatest passion was his family. He had one daughter and two grandchildren whom he absolutely adored. Fanny recalled how Danie would drop everything for a call from his daughter, showing a deep well of patience and love. Professionally, Danie de Jager was a man of skill and integrity. A qualified air conditioning technician, he was the owner of two successful businesses, Sialungisa Manufacturing and Sialungisa Engineering and Construction. He was always polite, always gentle, Fanny said, struggling to reconcile the kind man he knew with the violent end he met. Friends and colleagues respected him not just for his work ethic, but for his character. He was the kind of person who was always willing to lend a hand, a trait that makes the circumstances of his death even more tragic. The abandoned Nissan Juke, found later in the central area of the city, was one of the first clues that led investigators away from the initial story. As police pieced together the evidence, the narrative provided by his partner began to crumble under scrutiny. The swift arrests of her and the two tenants suggested that the police had uncovered inconsistencies or direct evidence linking them to the crime. The motive remains a subject of the ongoing investigation, but speculation inevitably turns to personal conflict or financial gain. The legal proceedings will hopefully bring clarity and justice for Danie. For now, a community is left to mourn and to grapple with a profound sense of betrayal. The place Danie de Jager called home, where he should have been safest, became the scene of his final moments. His story is a heartbreaking reminder that the greatest dangers can sometimes come from those we trust the most. Fanny's words hang heavy in the air, a sorrowful tribute to his brother. Danie didn't deserve this, he said. He helped people, even those who ended up hurting him. This final, poignant statement captures the essence of a good man who was tragically taken from a world he so generously contributed to. His legacy is one of kindness, hard work, and a deep love for his family, and that is how he will be remembered. Thank you for watching. The details of this case are still unfolding, and we will continue to follow the story as it develops. If you found this video informative, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more content. Stay safe out there.